One. Thanks for joining us for the Executive Series. Today I'm talking to Rob Phillips, who is Associate Professor, CEO and Chairman of Uscom. Rob, it's great to talk to you.
Thanks, Tom.
First and foremost, why don't we start with the technology that Uscom is really focused on?
Look, Uscom was founded out of translational research that I conducted at the University of Queensland. And basically the mission was to look at and anticipate the change in world health. And increasingly we're confronted with superbugs, so infections are increasing both in complexity and the effectiveness of antibiotics are diminishing. So it occurred to me, or it seems pretty obvious, that the future is really in being able to manage people non-invasively rather than invasively. And, you know, a function of the 80s and the 90s was that we could mechanically correct things invasively. The truth is, I think we're having to live with the outcome that non-invasive is the approach to deal with things, and if you can make it non-invasive and accurate, that will have a strong position in health going forward. If you do more for less, I think that's a powerful motto that we've sort of followed. And we started with the Uscom 1A, which is a non-invasive cardiac output monitor, and we've since then acquired two companies that do non-invasive central blood pressure, which provides, again, information about the central circulation that only a catheter can provide. So we've done that, and then we acquired a Hungarian company that specialises in respiratory disease. And as the world sort of becomes increasingly hostile for lungs and the incidence of asthma and COPD increases, it's clear that having devices that non-invasively and with high accuracy measure your lungs, your vessels and your heart, that resolves your circulation. And so what we're looking at is how we put those together, how we improve their quality, how we use their digital strengths to provide better information for health providers worldwide.
So would you consider yourself to be a disruptor in this respect? Are you taking a new look at ways of measuring things that have just been fundamental to medicine for a long time?
Look, disruption's a funny word. I would say just applying common sense.
But which can be disruptive.
It's probably disruptive. But yeah, no, I think it's really about saying, look, the future is in health's getting more expensive, but disease is getting more common, and particular diseases, cardiovascular, lung disease, etc., are becoming more common. And so we need to take a different approach to that, for that to be sustainable. Additionally, there are wealthy societies who can still maintain and provide high quality healthcare. There are perhaps 2/3 of the world who are not being covered with the level of healthcare that they should. And so developing devices that can be provided at relatively low cost and high clinical fidelity, and then leveraged into digital sort of central analysis and archiving systems, provides a theoretical model by which high quality healthcare can be delivered worldwide.
Okay.
And that's important for us philosophically.
So what is a practical example of where your devices get sold?
Look, we've started with our devices, and the Uscom device has become a mainstay in paediatric critical care. In septic shock, which is probably responsible for about, I think, 60% of all childhood mortality worldwide, we are part of the paediatric sepsis guidelines. All kids who have paediatric sepsis are guided to be used by our device. We have been in Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children as a standard of care. We've been and King's College in London as standard of care. We work through most of the major paediatric hospitals in the US. So we are saving lives. You know, the fact that it's non-invasive, you tend to not appreciate the strength of the technology. That's also being done now in adults and also in preeclampsia, so women with high blood pressure. We are learning more about the blood pressure the more we can study it. And whereas previously to study the circulation, particularly say in preeclampsia, what we had to do was to put catheters in. Now you don't put catheters in, you can look at the circulation more often, understand it better and make better decisions. And that's kind of our clinical outcome, and that is we want to deliver those devices in that environment.
Okay, and if you were to scope out the size of the markets that you're selling into, are you able to put a ballpark figure on the sort of numbers that you'd be expecting?
Look, Tom, investors always ask what's the size of the market, and our devices, our pulmonary, our vascular and our Uscom, our cardiac device, address markets that involve 80% of the world's preventable mortality. So it's massive. But if you look at Analyst's point of view and you say, what is the current market without growth and adding value, I think the spirometry or the lung market is in the order of $1 billion. I think the central blood pressure market is in the order of $3 billion, and the cardiovascular market is probably another $3 billion. So the figures are sort of astronomical, and I think from a sort of a management point of view, my strategy is really to continue to increase by 50% each year our numbers and grow along those lines, because they're manageable from an operational standpoint, and they depend on the evolving science of our devices as well.
Okay, so where are you now compared to where you were 12 months ago or 2 years ago, and where do you want to be in the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, look, I've got very clear objectives. I have confidence in our technologies. We started, as I said, with the Uscom. We acquired the BP Plus device from a combined New Zealand Weill Cornell collaborative in New York, and we bought that company into our company. We last year bought Thor Laboratories from Hungary, and they're specialists in digital spirometry, so they provide the highest quality spirometers. But being in Hungary, they struggle to have market penetration, but they've also got approved manufacturing of volume and at relatively low expense. So as we take our Uscom 1A and our Uscom BP Plus to market, we will need volume manufacturing, and Hungary really provides that well. So we've got R&D, manufacturing, and already the Spirosonic devices are being sold out of Hungary, just starting to be sold out of Hungary. So it's a really exciting time. We've built our whole business and all our results are on the Uscom 1A. We've now got 2 new companies that we've bought. We've got the regulatory in process. We've redeveloped the products so that they align with ours, and they are yet to hit our revenue lines. So all of our 50 to 60% growth over the last 3 or 4 years have come from our first product. We've spent all the money buying the companies, cost us, it's debt-free. It was bought on scrip, it was bought on cash and operational cash flow. So we've brought them into the company and are now preparing them for the market, and they will provide revenue. I describe it as for the foreseeable decade, but it is definitely that kind of opportunity, because they are central physiology measures, and more we need that kind of information, and we're doing it better than anybody else in a digital domain, which means it can then translate from, say, ICUs, critical care environments, to home care and e-health. And the e-health revolution is changing the way we deliver health, and our devices are the sensors at the front end that are non-invasive, because anyone can build a software platform. There's no barrier to entry. But getting the sensors that provide that information reliably and accurately provide the power that drive those software systems. And we're talking to a lot of the bigger companies internationally now. So it's very exciting. But the other thing that we've done this year, which is also very exciting, is we signed a wholesale importation agreement with CIIC China, Shanghai Science and Technology, and they're a state-owned company that absolutely huge, but with a massive reach in China. And they've been looking at us and what we've been doing, and they sort of see this as a partnership opportunity to expand our products into China with impact, and that underwrites basically our growth for the next 3 to 5 years. So it's a really exciting time for us. We see that we've built the products, acquired the products, paid for the products, and still growing the company. Now we're in line to receive the benefits of that investment in terms of growth of revenue. Having said that, in that time that we've grown the products, we've grown the company by an average of 40 to 60% per annum. So we're in a good position. It's an exciting time going forward. It's interesting when you bring a company, you start a company and you start to see it actually gain traction. And in bio, it's very much, you do a lot of hard work before you get any grasp. And I think we've now de-risked all our technologies. We are just about profitable, and we've got revenue opportunities that are very exciting.
Rob, we look forward to following the Uscom story. Thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
And thanks for joining us for the Executive Series.